Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Business Incorporated. I am BC Adebayo. On today's program, Kenya to focus on local tourism to quicken post-virus recovery, and Egypt considers setting up giant stores of basic commodities in regions, while South Africa's SAA offers severance packages to rural staff after state pulls plug. Let's get the show started right away with the market. And here in Africa, most major markets were negative at intraday, except here in Nigeria, where the index gained 0.62% at intraday. In South Africa, the index trimmed 0.96%. Egypt's EGX 30 lost the most by 1.8%, while Kenya closed positive on Friday. And major stock markets in the Gulf traded lower today, and that was pressured by banking shares in response to a fresh drop in oil prices as demand shrinks due to the coronavirus pandemic. The Abu Dhabi index retreated 2.81%, dragged down by a 4% fall in First Abu Dhabi Bank. In Dubai, the index declined 1.41%, with its largest lender, Emirates NBD, losing 2.4%. Also at intraday, the Qatari index lost 1.99% as all stocks on the index fell, while Saudi Arabia's benchmark index eased 1.1%. Let's turn now to Europe, where stocks were slightly higher this morning as global coronavirus developments remained in focus, along with a sharp fall in U.S. oil prices. Let's cross over to the Frankfurt Stock Exchange now, where Chelsea Delany is standing by to tell us more. Good afternoon, Chelsea. So we've seen global markets bouncing in recent days amid optimism that economies will soon begin lifting restrictions to contain the spread of the coronavirus. How are stocks trading in Frankfurt today?
Well, stocks here in Frankfurt have also been on a real tear over the past couple of weeks. The DAX has risen more than 20% in the past month. That's basically halving the losses that it's had since the coronavirus pandemic began and really began to rattle global markets. But that momentum, it really isn't carrying through to today. Here in Frankfurt, the DAX started up a bit higher. Now it's down about 1.4 to 1.5%. That's even as there is increasing discussion of reopening of the economy, both here in Germany, but also in other nearby countries such as Norway, France, Italy. All are really having these discussions now. But this is a really crucial week for global investors, and here in Europe is no exception. We're going to be getting the first corporate earnings reports from big European companies such as Credit Suisse, the bank, Sanofi, the French pharmaceutical company. So we're going to be getting some of the first indications of how this is really impacting companies. And we're also going to be getting more information on the broader impact on the European economy. And the Eurozone is also going to be having some big discussions about aid packages. So there's a lot for investors to be watching this week.
And speaking of economies now, Chelsea, speaking about economies reopening, Germany is allowing some businesses to reopen today. Is this a step back towards normalcy?
It's a step, but it's certainly a small step. The moves today, it varies among the German regions, but in the next days, in the next week or so, most federal states here in Germany will allow smaller stores to reopen, and as well, they will be allowing things like car dealerships and bookstores to reopen. So this is certainly a welcomed step after several weeks of businesses being closed, but there's still a lot of big questions. When will bigger stores be open? When will the contact ban that's in place that prevents people from gathering in large groups, when will that be lifted? And of course, also bigger questions like when will borders begin to reopen and travel begin to sort of pick back up again? So there are a lot of bigger questions, and public health officials are certainly having to weigh the economic cost of these shutdowns against the fears of a resurgence in cases. So all we've heard from public leaders is that they are optimistic about this being under control here in Germany, but it's going to take a long time before we're truly back to a normally functioning economy.
To see that happen, but up to 59 million jobs in Europe could be at risk because of the economic shutdown from COVID-19, and that's according to a report from the consulting firm McKinsey. Which workers have been hardest hit?
What we've seen so far is a really dramatic impact on the services sector. So people that work in the restaurant industry, people that work in hospitality and event planning in the arts and culture sector, all of those have seen a really dramatic complete shutdown in activity. This report also mentioned that workers who have that don't have as much education, people without university degrees, are particularly vulnerable to job losses right now, as well as younger workers who might not have as much of an established work pattern. But this is also a broad-based impact on the labor market. The McKinsey report estimated 59 million people will either be laid off or have their hours cut or be furloughed. That's about a quarter of the entire European workforce. So that's just a massive amount of people that will be impacted, and it's likely to last for several years. McKinsey doesn't think that the labor market in Europe will be back to where it was before coronavirus until perhaps 2024. So these are really drastic impacts that could last for many years ahead.
Thank you, Chelsea, for those updates. We'll see you again tomorrow, and please remember to stay safe.